Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Boys Next Door.
So happy to be here.
So happy to
With
be here.
you.
Oh, with
Of
you
course.
too. We hope that you guys are loving everything so far. We appreciate all the love, your comments, and everything. We look at all of them.
Enjoying the rest of the summer.
Yes.
Because summer on Long Island is unmatched.
But today, we're talking about,
A topic that I feel like comes up a lot.
yeah.
And the topic is the groom just a prop?
No, like, what do we mean by that? Like,
What do we mean by that?
more or less, is the groom just another necessary detail? Like, that's really what we mean, right?
100%.
Because, and I think during the pandemic, it was kind of when I think I became a little more like aware, or we became more aware, because people that were getting married had to choose what they were willing to cancel.
And what was the most important to them?
What was the most important to them, what they were willing to reschedule. You know, like when you're switching your wedding date, sometimes your photographer might be available, but your hair and makeup may not be, or DJ or venue. Like, you know, there was a lot of things that had to coincide to reschedule.
Even with the couple themselves, like if things
changed
changed
between them.
I was just going to say, even work-wise, if there was a certain time of year that wasn't going to work out for them,
Right.
because of someone's career.
If you're a teacher and you
For
were definitely going to
example.
get married in the summer, and now you're looking at the winter, but you don't want to get married at February break or Christmas break, or like, and your honeymoon's going to be all screwed up now. Like, there was a lot of moving parts, but I feel like we started to notice with certain people, or they even noticed themselves, because some people never rescheduled, and not because of the particulars, but because they decided not to get married. And
They realized what was truly important to them, and I think that's like the focus of this, is that especially with getting married and planning a wedding, is you want to be authentic and true to yourself.
right, like the groom or the bride, for that matter, shouldn't be just something that has to be there, like the cake or the venue or a bridal party or the dress or anything like that. Like, there's a certain look. Sometimes I feel like me and Nicholas talk about it all the time. Like, and it's not to say if a bride or someone getting married doesn't have this look, it means they're not happy. But there's a certain look or feeling that you...
Energy. There's a certain energy.
Energy that you can feel when somebody, the morning of their wedding, and you're with them, and you can tell that they don't care about anything else that's going around.
They don't
them.
even mention their partner's names.
Nothing.
Sometimes.
They're just so caught up in all the details. Like, sometimes you just, like, you wonder, like, is it because it's the next logical step in their relationship, or where they feel like what they have to do?
Whether it's in competition with themselves or with their friends or family. And even
family.
living on Long Island.
Weddings are a whole nother animal here.
They can be wild in the best possible sense.
Nobody
but-
does it like here, that's for sure.
But I feel like we all can get caught up in the like, oh my God, like my wedding should be like this.
Right.
Or this event should replicate this person's event that I saw on social media.
Yeah.
Or even after celebrity weddings, people are like, oh my
100%.
God, I want it to look exactly like this.
And if you don't have that kind of budget, that's hard. It's a big,
It really is.
set yourself up for that kind of a want.
Task.
Yeah, task. But more importantly, it's like, if it's not about really like the person that you're marrying,
Everything else is,
all not as important.
I was just going to say, it's not that it's like supplementary.
It should be like
But-
just a part of like what's making your day. Like, that's what I've
should be
always
adding
wanted.
to it.
Adding to it. It shouldn't be all about that any person could have been up there with you, but you just want. Let's be real. Like, as far as like women have come in particular, like, let's just say, but talk about girls, brides, as opposed to like a groom. Society has, as much as like girls have come so far, and we think you girls are amazing, there's still an expectation that you have to be married by a certain age, or you should be having kids by a certain age, and it's annoying because people don't do that to guys. And like with girls, there's an expectation, and sometimes even if it's not something they're voicing or aware of, there's that subconscious pressure you're putting on yourself.
That little voice in your head.
That little voice in your head. And those are the things that unfortunately can lead people to marry people that they maybe shouldn't be or wouldn't be if they didn't feel that they were getting too old, or that this is the best that they can do.
Or people even around them suggesting like, oh my God, you've been together so long. Why are you not already married?
Yeah, maybe there's a reason.
There are reasons. And sometimes I feel like if somebody's willing to express to you and dive into it, they're very open about it. And then other people are more reserved.
Absolutely.
And you shouldn't push them because it could come back at you.
Like even it's sadly to say, like, it's kind of talking about, not talking about bridesmaids, but a lot of times, like, I'll even hear or will hear things that bridesmaids are saying, maybe not to us, but amongst each other about the relationship of the people getting married. And it's like, I think to myself so many times, sometimes I've said it to them, like, well, why, like, has no one said this to her? Like,
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, why are we not talking about this, like, beforehand? Like, before you, like, like, I'm not saying it's the easiest thing to say to a friend or to say to a sister or anybody that you say, oh, are you really happy? But, like, I feel like that's part of
That's the base of why you're getting married. Are you truly happy? Is this what you really want?
Is this what you really want? Because...
And it's okay not to.
It's okay not to.
Yes,
and as much as it may seem like a crazy thing to have to cancel a wedding or start a new relationship or any of that stuff, like, it's much harder to get divorced. And, like, why do you want to... And, like, I'm not saying, like, everybody, there's a difference between, like, being nervous and having doubts or working through something with your couple. But if you, with your, significant other, but if you really know that it hasn't been right for a long time.
There are major things.
There are major things. And if everybody else knows and everybody else is talking about it around you, like, most likely...
They're going to be talking about it the day of your wedding.
They're going to be talking about it the day of your wedding.
100%.
And that's, like, a really unfortunate...
And we've seen it both ways when we've been guests at weddings and when we've been working.
Right. Sometimes even to that point, which is sad, but, like, the bridesmaid that may have been speaking about it... when she gets married next year and you're like, oh, how is so-and-so if she's not there? And they're like, oh, she's going through a divorce. But, we all knew that. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, oh, that's so sad. Like, and I'm not saying that can always be avoided, but we've seen it enough where it's left an impression.
I think that's true.
Right?
That's
where it's constantly like, wow, here we are again.
And listen, like, we love, like, to see our girls again.
Oh, 100%.
We do, and I'm always like, good for you, girl.
100%.
Good for you.
Listen, we support no matter what your decision is. Like, I will be the one that literally walks you out of the wedding if you really want to get out. Like, I don't care. Like, we will always support whatever the girls decide, or person, whoever's getting married. But the bottom line is like, details are important. But the person you're getting married, what do you always say about the wedding?
I always say, when people are like, oh my God.
I always screw it up, so I'm not going to try and say it.
When you're like, I'm so excited for my wedding, I can't wait for this and this. I always say, your wedding is the part that is like the ceremony. Whether you're in a courthouse, whether you're in a vineyard, whether you're at a castle, wherever you are, is between you and that person, and you're taking that next step in your relationship. That is your wedding.
Right.
Your reception is the party celebrating your love and the commitment you just made to each other.
Right.
So are you more excited about having a reception or actually physically getting married?
Right. Now, that's not to say that people don't have shorter ceremonies or make the ceremony not the focus for other reasons. Sometimes people cannot handle the attention.
I was just going to say.
Sometimes emotions. There could be many reasons why people choose to have a small ceremony. And we're not talking about that.
No, because we love it all from...
100%. But whether it's 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 20 minutes or a full mass in a church, whatever your ceremony is going to be, you should feel, and I'm not talking about nerves, I'm talking about you should feel as happy and hopeful and feel as much emotion about that part than the rest of it.
Because that's what the day is about.
Right.
And I feel like that's when sometimes people will get lost in the sauce. Like I always say, like, you're forgetting that you're genuinely getting married.
100%.
Like, you have to get married to make it to the venue.
100%.
Or you're at the venue, but to go to the next part, you have to get married first.
Yes.
You can't just skip through everything and show up at cocktail hour.
Yeah. Or how many times have you heard people say, and this is like, I feel bad even saying it, repeating it, but people will say like, things have been a little rough, but I know when we get married, it's going to get better.
I can't.
What?
This one.
What?
This one.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I can't.
That's like saying things are rough, but if we have a baby, it might get better. Like, no. You want to really be in the best position before you go into a relationship, a marriage, adding a kid to your mix.
A career.
Like, a career. if you're not like, oh, as cliche as it sounds, like if you can't love yourself, if you're not in a good place, it's hard to do anything else with someone else. It's hard to be an unselfish partner if you're not like in a really great place.
And you want to be able to grow with the person.
Absolutely.
And if you feel like you've already reached your limit with them, it's kind of like a hard spot to be in.
Yeah, because sometimes like there doesn't have to be something really, really wrong for it not to be right. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
It doesn't mean that they're like, I'm cheating on you or I don't love you or I'm not attracted to you. Like, sometimes, like what you just said about growing, like, you can grow with somebody at the same level and sometimes you don't.
Just level out.
Yeah, sometimes you level out. And sometimes people are okay with leveling out and people have the same goal to get to the same level and just chill. And that's fine. But if you're with somebody that wants to kind of always challenge themselves and like looking for something fresh and exciting, you can be with somebody that wants to do that together. But if you're not, then it's going to be hard to kind of like do life together. If you're always looking for something more exciting or wanting to like, and the other person is not. Right?
That's a really good point. And it's a hard spot to be in at the same time.
Yeah.
Because your wedding should open that, as cliche, like we said before, like next chapter.
Right.
You should have new goals, new aspirations.
Right, together.
Together. Of course, you still want to be your own individual self and do the things that you love, but you want to be able to share that with somebody.
Yeah. You remember when we were getting married and like we would like talk about, I think it was even after the wedding when we were, because a lot of times brides or that we see after their wedding will be like, oh, I'm so sad it's over. And like, yes, I never really understood that until our wedding. Like there was a certain aspect of like, wow, like we're never going to.
Because you're on that wedding high.
That
like
high.
you're
And it's something you can't really even, until you go through.
It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it was an amazing feeling. But there was a little bit more of that than I thought. Like after I was like, oh, wow, like it is like kind of a little sad that that's not going to happen again. But then when we were on our honeymoon, we were like, yeah, that's not going to happen
again. But
again.
we're still together.
And that's not going to be the last thing that we celebrate or
Which
do
is so
together.
And we always say that.
Yeah, like that doesn't mean that we don't have so many things to look forward to or so many more things that we want to accomplish together. And that's exciting. Even though your wedding's over, like we were doing this. We opened a bit, like there's so many things that we constantly are looking forward
and
to.
Evolving together.
Right. That your wedding shouldn't be the see-all, end-all. Even if you are never having children or you don't want to have kids, like if you want to just be you two together, then
that's amazing. Travel the world.
Do things, do whatever it is that makes it
spicy.
Keeps it flowing.
And you always got to keep it spicy. Always.
In every sense of the word.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's important.
And I feel like it's like an older saying too, but even when you get married, like you still want to date your partner.
Yeah. It's like another one of those. Listen, what the thing about cliche expressions is they've been around for a long reason for a while. And people call them cliche because they get repeated so much. But there's a reason. It's because it's usually true. They usually make sense. And those are things, it's just about learning from what people tell you, people that have gone through it before, experiences, like.
I agree.
That's really the truth of the matter. So.
I'm dying at you. No, but honestly, at the end of the day, you just want to be authentic, true to yourself, your partner, and you will have a beautiful wedding.
If you
stick to it.
To those things, because I feel like we always tell our brides too, like when they're asking our opinion on certain things, like I always say, like, even just let's go to their makeup trial. Like, if I'm doing their makeup trial, I always tell them, like, listen, I want you to love your makeup, and I don't care if everybody else in this room loves it. If there's something you're not sure about, like, I need to know about it.
Oh, my God.
Because all these people are going to go on with their lives, and you're going to be the one that's going to look at these pictures for the rest of your life. You're the one that's going to look at the makeup.
We say that all
the
time to them.
It's the same thing with every other detail of your wedding. Yeah, choose your battles. If there's something that your mom's really insisting on, that you're like, you know what, I'm just going to give her this because I don't want to hear it. We've been there.
It happens.
We've been there. But make sure you choose your battles and the things that, like, if there's something you're like, I've always pictured this. Don't take no for an answer.
Do it. Like, anything can be done.
He always says it. He gets so furious, whether it's like if we're doing construction or if we're thinking of an idea.
TV for that, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
if someone says to him, like, oh, well, like that really can't be done. We're always like,
I don't
well,
like
what
to
do
hear
you
that.
mean?
I
Well,
don't like
wow.
to hear that
You
it
know,
cannot be done.
You're
Because
right.
anything can be done.
There's a will, there's a way. It may not be exactly the way you planned it, but there's still some sort of a way to make it all happen and make it all
And to
work.
reach that end goal.
Exactly. You know what's so funny though, going off of like the groom being a prop, how many brides or weddings, I was surprised that when the pandemic, when they got canceled, you know, some people did smaller weddings that they could at the time, whether it was 15 people, 20 people, intending on having the ceremony a year later or however long later. And sometimes we would hear from the bride that they really were fine with the smaller ceremony and had the perfect day. But the groom really wanted to have the banger party.
Which I don't blame.
No, me
I
either,
don't
but
blame
I
you.
will never forget, like that happened so many times.
I think it still happens.
Probably.
No,
yeah, I think,
know
you know
it
what, you're
does
right. I
still
think
happen.
grooms have been more vocal since
Some
then.
brides are very chill. They're like, I just want it low key. I just want to have like a beautiful dinner.
Or how many times the
Like-
brides will be like, oh, my husband's the bride. The
Oh,
groom's the bride. Like, let me just
I
show my
do love
husband.
that little
And I
shout-out
love it too.
boys.
I
Love
do.
it.
I love it too. And like, even they'll be like, would you stop by his room and like touch him up in the morning? I'm like, I don't care.
But I feel like in those situations, you could feel like the electricity
100%
between them because
it's their dynamic.
He still wants to celebrate with his partner, the
100%.
groom, whether it's his husband or his wife.
Right.
But you can feel the difference, and I think the people that go out of the way to make you not feel anything, like you have to look into that.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, why? You know, like when
Why are you feeling
where there's
like
smoke,
that?
there's fire, like kind of
Oh.
situation. No, you're right. I totally agree. But the bottom line is you don't, like Nicholas said, you don't want to get lost in the sauce. You want to make sure that the marriage and who you're marrying is really the most important part of your wedding.
And I think too that with the planning process, because people always say to us, whether it's family, friends, clients, anybody, they're saying, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. There's so much to plan. And they're not asking anybody for help.
Yeah.
Like you should be
Gotta
leaning
delegate.
you should be leaning on your partner in that situation.
100%.
Regardless if they want to help you or not.
Right.
You can say, this wedding is about us and I don't want to do this on my own.
Yes.
Because more times than not, people are like, I've done everything. He has no idea what's going on. He's just showing up that day.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you give them that opportunity to communicate with you,
They want to do something.
they do want to do
They
something.
want to do some things. They want to be included. You'll know if they don't. But you know what? That's a really good point because sometimes I feel like people, we also say too, like people kind of have a tendency to make themselves stressed over things that don't need to be. And before we planned our wedding, I used to feel way more bad and sympathetic to that. Like if someone would say to
Meaning
me,
like they were so stressed out.
yes, like I mean, I've been
Yes.
doing weddings for 100 years. And if the bride was like, oh my God, it's so stressful. You have no idea what it's like planning a wedding. I'd be like, oh wow, you're right. I don't. Maybe it really is that crazy. Or do people really?
But I don't think
It doesn't
feel like
have to
people just
be.
get so caught up in it that's what becomes
Yes,
stressful.
it doesn't
Once you
have to
book
be.
everything and have it all set, you're good.
Yes, we had a good
You're
time.
coasting.
Once, I mean, like we always said, we're like, okay, we booked our wedding in the
Yes.
middle of the pandemic with the salon being closed. Financially wasn't
We're just
great at
rolling
the
with
time,
it.
and we rolled with it, and it all worked out. And we still can say, even with all that, we actually enjoyed planning our wedding, even with all that. You
I'll
know,
do it again.
with me.
Of course.
No, I would hope.
No.
But really, no, like it doesn't have to be that stressful. There's things are always gonna come unexpectedly or not, but you just have to choose. It's like the weather. There's no way of guaranteeing that it's not gonna rain that day.
And don't be mad at your husband or wife that it's raining.
Yeah,
Or
it's not their fault.
that it's 1,000,000 degrees.
Just be in it together. Dance in the rain. Like don't
Oh my
make it.
God. Wait. By saying that, we had a destination wedding just recently.
Yes.
And we absolutely adore them. Justin and Marissa, shout out.
Love them.
And it was raining that day.
Yeah.
And we spoke to the groom one-on-one before the ceremony. And he
We were
said,
literally underneath like a hut while it was
underneath the hut on the
pouring.
beach in Punta Cana.
And we were watching all of the staff who were amazing, trying to dry everything and rake the sand.
Yes.
And we had just finished getting the bride ready. So we were with the groom.
And he literally was like, I don't care if it's raining. As
Yeah.
long as we're together,
Yep.
that's all that matters.
And he said, as
And I was
long
like,
as he's, I know you wanted to
dying.
collapse.
I'm still dying over
Not to
you
mention,
guys.
he's so handsome. It's insane.
They're a really beautiful
They're
couple.
a beautiful couple, but I was ready to faint as I was shaving his face with the dry razor under the hut.
I can't.
There's a picture of that
can't.
somewhere. But anyway, and he said, as long as she's good, I'm good.
It really
And
stuck
we
with me.
both were like, Like you really, because you knew
It really
he
touched me.
meant
Like,
it.
it was like-
he meant it.
He really
he
meant it.
meant it with his whole heart, and he's like a man of few words. Like he's not like an overly emotional guy. So like I believed him when he said it.
And
I
like
was like,
knowing the bride and having that relationship with her,
I could
have
literally
cried, and
cry
you guys,
just right
like,
now.
I am an
I
ice
know,
queen.
I know.
I don't shed a tear.
It takes a
but
lot
I
to
felt
melt
so
him.
much love in
Love
that
in there,
moment that
yeah.
I was like, wow, they really, like, regardless of what happens with this weather right now,
Yep.
they're fucking doing it.
And that goes back to like with your bridal party. Those girls, those boys, they were ready to fucking rally. Have a party, rain or not. They all jumped into the ocean at the end of the night in their
Which was
dresses,
iconic.
which was iconic.
Yes.
And like really it was. And
Yes.
I was not because it was pitch black and I'm terrified. But it was really such an experience, and as much as we worked it and we were there as a vendor, we also are friends with them, and I wouldn't have missed that wedding for anything.
It's something I will never forget.
We'll never forget. It
And
really,
just the vibe of the day and everything leading up to it, we genuinely had so much fun.
yep. And it goes to show you, like that's what we were saying before. No matter how many details were brought from all the way from New York to to Punta Cana, sorry, not Mexico, Punta Cana, my apologies. How many things were brought there? The most important thing was them, because
And
you
in
still
that
couldn't
moment,
control
I
the weather.
really felt that, like how we just said. I was like, wow. Like you said, they brought everything from New York down there, but at the end of the day, it was the two of them that mattered, and that's what made the wedding.
And that's the only thing you can
Beyond.
control. You can't control what's going to happen otherwise, weather-wise, or this or that, or if somebody acts like an asshole. But you can control how you respond to it. You can absolutely control if you're going to let it ruin your day or make or break the situation.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like me and Nicholas, we said when we got married, if there's anybody that causes any kind of drama, I will literally have them physically removed. Like we just wanted to have not lying. I just wanted to have a good time and be around people that genuinely were there to support us and love us. No drama, no egos, no nothing. You know, like that's just what it should be.
You're
right?
absolutely right. I couldn't agree more.
Good.
As they say.
I'm glad.
But enjoy your planning process. It truly is the best.
Don't let it stress you to the point where it cripples you.
No, you're in that little love bubble, and enjoy.
We will be back, guys, and we hope you keep coming back to listen to us. Thanks so much.
Thank you.